Let's talk about what's wrong with dating a poor Filipina in the Philippines. Literally, all the advice I hear is to date someone well educated with a good career. I hear this on this Reddit as well as the internet, plus my own friends and family. But here's the thing, I married a girl like this in the past, one who got a bachelor's degree from the US, one who came from a family of lawyers. And the problem with the girl was that she was spoiled and demanded expensive things. For example, she refused to take a bus anywhere and would always want taxis or rideshare. She would eat out constantly. She never wanted to cook food. She wanted to stay at five-star hotels whenever we traveled. She would criticize me for suggesting fun activities that weren't classy enough for her. I feel like a poor girl wouldn't do that. She'd be way more down to earth. She'd be willing to cook and clean without complaining, and her general expectations would be much lower. And yeah, maybe I'd be financially supporting the poor girl more often, but I also think that her general cost of living would be much lower, so it wouldn't even cost me much. As far as the poor girl being irresponsible with money goes, I'd simply give her a weekly allowance. Instead of her giving her full access to my bank account and finances, she can choose what she wants to do with that allowance. She can choose how much she gives her family, how much to spend on luxuries, how much to save, etc. I can't see anything wrong with this relationship dynamic. Someone please explain to me why this is bad. It's not bad at all. You want to buy your wife? Go ahead, do it. You want to buy your girlfriend? Go ahead and do it. Just because you married the wrong girl doesn't mean that all poor girls will automatically be the best choice. Of course, everything you mentioned is accurate. Everything you said is correct. However, there's more to life than simply paying for things. What you need to understand that Filipinos are culturally very different than American people. The girl that you're speaking of, your ex, was obviously a materialistic person. Filipinos are the same way, but just on a lower degree. Of course, you would save money based on your examples, but it's important to marry someone you actually get along with, not just because of finances or the fact that she's either into five-star hotels or simple getaways for money. Money is always an issue in a relationship because that's what you need to live in a life. So why not find someone that's compatible with you and not necessarily regarding money, but I'm certain it's easier said than done in the Philippines because that's not how things work. Milk Clouds says, there are poor girls that can act exactly like rich girl you described. Instead of looking at their finances, look at their heart, their principles, and their personalities. Perhaps people are telling you not to date poor girls because of the stereotype that poor Filipino women are looking for rich foreign men to get a visa off. But that's not entirely true either. If you want to find a good woman, look within. That's correct. Look within. But the problem with that is you're basically comparing two equal parts. If you were to look for someone that has a good heart, and if you are a 70-year-old white man or black man or brown or purple, the color does not matter, a foreigner, 70 years old, living in his own country, it's very difficult, nearly impossible, actually impossible to find someone for their heart that is in their 30s or 40s because you, sir, are 30 or 40 years older. It makes no sense. That's why these poor, impoverished girls in the provinces of the Philippines are okay with it. Not because of your personality or compatibility, because of your money. But that is the truth nobody wants to accept. We don't want to accept the fact that we are getting older, the fact that we have very little to offer as far as romance goes, and it's mainly about finances. Now, will she love you along the way? That's an entirely different story. Is there actually passion in the relationship? Most definitely not. Even though you are active with her, does not mean she is passionate about you or is necessarily enjoying it. She sees it as part of a package deal of the necessity. She tolerates it, puts up with it, maybe even enjoys it here and there, but I promise you, it's not her first choice. Do not forget that. And there is nothing wrong with this if you simply want to buy your relationship. This right here is by far the best comment. Short but concise. You don't start looking at status. Try to begin the search in knowing what you wish you have, what kind of personality of a woman you want to be forever with. Do not just choose because you can afford whatever happens, no matter how educated, poor, or wealthy both. If your desires and principles in your life, I am not continuing with this as it's a fairy tale. It does not happen. I'm not an actual expat, but I'm married to a Filipina in Denmark. She has her an au pair. When we met, I'll give you my 2 cents anyway. She's from the middle class of the village in Mountain Province, so in overall terms she's from a poor family. Mother was a teacher, father a miner, and later driver, and now at retirement age on the barangay council, or whatever it's called. But overall not rich, in any sense. My wife is hardworking, caring, has low demands, to the point that I have to tell her it's okay to spend a bit on herself. Otherwise, she won't do it. It's all about meeting the right person for you. Once again, in an ideal world, definitely, and that would be the way to go. However, in today's world, it's getting more difficult and difficult to actually find someone who cares for the simple things. It is not impossible, but very difficult. And those ones that are actually meeting this criteria are not going to be online, because the ones online have many options and you are competing with people and have to give more than what the previous person has offered, whoever you're speaking to. Hura Bihiditi says, honestly, it's not about whether someone comes from a poor or wealthy background, or whether they're highly educated or not. It's about values and mindset. You'll find good and bad people at every social class. At the end of the day, it comes down to your ability to evaluate a person's intentions, character, and mindset to determine if a healthy relationship is even possible. Precisely. Oftentimes, men see red flags, but they simply ignore it because the person they're looking at is just an outer shell of a woman they actually admire and desire. Does not necessarily mean she's the one, but they see someone that's significantly younger, easy to get with, and they forget what reality is. This person continues. And of course, how you present yourself plays a big role too. If you go to less affluent country and present yourself primarily as the wealthy foreigner, making your money the first thing people notice, then yes, there's a good chance that the people you attract will focus more on your wallet than on you as a person. Is there a chance that someone from a poorer or less educated background might, at some point, ask you for help? Sure, it's possible. But honestly, that can happen in any relationship, whether it's with someone from a developing country or from your own hometown in the West. The most important thing is to ask yourself, what exactly do you want and what really matters to you as a partner? If you're someone who enjoys long evening conversations about topics like quantum mechanics, it's fair to say that the Filipinos are not the ones for you. 100% on target. Helpful Kangaroo says, I'm a Filipina and I have a foreign boyfriend, and here are my opinions. Number 1, are you romanticizing poverty? You said, quote, a poor girl wouldn't do that, end quote, and she'd be way more down to earth. Like, sounds like for you, poverty equals submissiveness and low expectations. I'm gonna hold your hand when I tell you this. Not all Filipinos who come from poverty are nice, humble, obedient, or appreciative. Filipinos are complex. There we have it. Even Pinoys are willing to admit that just because someone's poor does not mean they are humble or appreciative. She goes on to say, number 2, you said, quote, I'd give her a weekly allowance instead of a full access to my bank account, end quote. Bro, I think you want control, not partnership. Giving her allowance while expecting her to cook, clean, and not complain creates a maid dynamic, not a relationship. 3, as an educated woman with a degree, you are generalizing educated women. Not because you had bad experience with an educated upper-class woman doesn't mean all educated women are spoiled and grateful. Maybe you and your ex aren't just compatible. Why is it bad to date a poor girl? Because your love is not based on love, quality, and mutual growth. You want a maid, period. This person makes sense. I am astonished that a Pine would say this. Not that they don't exist, but they would have anything to do with topics like this since they rarely like to admit. Appropriate key says, my take, and please read through before getting mad. Poor girl has a reason to scam. That's why people are saying get an educated one. If you're not poor, that's one reason to scam you. Mango Mandela says, honestly, a ton of foreign men here are losers back home. They are living pretty close to the edge financially themselves. The distinction matters between the two for them. Some men here, the difference between middle class and poor Filipino just does not matter financially. I have dated college educated. I have dated the stereotypical poorly educated province girl. The difference is not as big as you think or you imagine. What does it matter is intellectual curiosity. With better opportunity, that uneducated women very easily could have gone much higher in education. It's very clear the difference between education, opportunity, and intelligence. Pick their woman based on her, not the opportunities she had or did not have. Many people make sense in this. I actually enjoy reading it because people are essentially all saying the same thing. Poor does not automatically equal better. However, poor will increase the chances of you supporting her and her entire family. The reason people say don't date poor girls because they know that there's a need for money, whereas in the middle class, upper class, there's no need for money. So if you are in a relationship, chances are she is actually into you more than your wallet, likely. There's obviously exceptions to every rule. That is why it's important to always do your due diligence when dating Filipinas. Whether poor or rich does not matter. It's the person that matters. And most people you meet online are definitely not either poor or rich. They're simply scammers. Thanks for watching. God bless.